The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Huddle Up here on the Missouri Sports Network inside of the Pizza Ranch studio. I'm excited to be back with you. We got a lot of things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about a little bit of NFL. We're going to jump into a little bit of a MLB to see what's happening to baseball around the diamond, and we'll touch on some local sports here. But right now, I got my trusted sidekicks, Mr. Guy Newcomb, and the gentleman they call Coach over there, DA. Guy, let's start with you, my friend. I got a weird text message today from some guy. He's a jerk. I never like him, but I think you know him, Guy. And I said, well, I do. Why are you texting me? And I want to use good words here because we have kids listening to the show. But he's just one of those guys that's everyone has one of them, okay? And he's just that type of guy. And he said something about the Cardinals being in last place, and he thought it was really funny, and he and ha. But that's not true, is it, Mr. Newcomb? The Cardinals are not in that last place, are we?
No, they are a half a game ahead of the Cincinnati Reds. So after their big 14-5 win over the Diamondbacks, who are hot,
Yeah.
but they get a 14-5 win. They're a half game in front of Cincinnati.
And we're going to talk about them a little later. But for those of you who don't know, that jerk is on your screen. He's in your ear. He's the head basketball coach at an unnamed high school here. We're not going to name him. And he actually is from Indiana. And we're going to put that out there. He's a Hoosier. He loves the Hoosiers. And he's a Cubs fan. How do you do that, people? One and only Darren Archer. DA, how are you today, sir?
Very good, baby. I'm just living life the Cardinal way.
Yeah. Well, don't live it. You'll be losing for the next 100 years. I can tell you that. That's the dang on. I'm so glad y'all won. I'm so glad y'all won that World Series because you'll never see another one. It's not going to happen, DA. I'm telling you that right now.
Hey, all I'm going to ask you is this. When is the last time the Cardinals won the World Series? Let me answer that for you. 2011.
2011. Yeah.
Right.
And what about before that? 2006, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep living in the past.
Now, when last
it's all
time
about the present. It's all about the present. Come on now. Quit living in the past.
Look,
you're talking about you weren't even alive when most of their World Series games were won.
82
championships.
We got robbed in 85. I'm not even gonna do this with you this segment. We got robbed in 85. Right, guys? Stay with me, guy.
We got robbed in 85.
Big time. Was Dinkins? Was he out? Was he out at first base?
He was out.
Thank you. What's his name? What's his name, guy? Don Dinkinger robbed us. Everybody in Kansas City is listening to this show. They know. You know what? We're gonna talk baseball this half. They know they robbed us. And then what, guy? 2006, and then we didn't have a chance. The year before, 2 years before, against the Red Sox. We didn't have a chance there, did we, guy?
No, they were down 3-0 to the Yankees. They won 8 in a row.
Yeah. We didn't have a chance. And loaded balls all the time. I got all type of conspiracy theories. And all the time the Cubs were sitting at home watching us. And then the Cubs they tank the last game so they can get Rizzo. What's his name? Rizzo. Yeah, I call him Rizzo. That's how I like. And they had the other guy, and then they just call light in the bottle. And there wasn't a rain delay. The Cubs don't beat Cleveland. I hate the Cubs. Can't stand them. I so hated they came back and won that game. I hate them more than I hate the Royals.
That's all I'm going to say, Johnny. Fly the
What is that?
W, baby.
Oh, that
Fly the W.
looks like two losers you're putting on top of your head.
The
You know
Cardinal
what,
way.
guys? St. Louis is struggling a little bit right now, baseball. Let's jump into it. Struggling a little bit. Guy, why do you think the Cardinals are having a problem? Do you think it's our general manager not putting together a good team? Is Marmol, is he not really a good field manager? Or is this overall the players we don't have the talent? What are you thinking?
Well, I tell you right now, they're going to have to get some pitching. I think, Marmol, he may be in trouble. I mean, this stuff with Tyler O'Neill is still going on. And I think it's just about getting pitching and getting pitchers healthy and getting Flaherty in the right mind. I mean, he's got a 2.76 ERA right now. The back end of the bullpen has not been good. Montgomery's fourth inning last night lasted like an hour and a half. He couldn't get anybody out. I mean, it's just things like that. And Jordan Walker's not hitting. He's kind of slipped off the page a little bit, and that's just a book on him. I mean, once you go through the league, you guys are going to say he's got a weakness here, and he cannot hit a slider. He is swinging at balls off the plate. And I think the pitching will come around. Wainwright, I saw Adam Wainwright on Wednesday go out and do his little deal with the Springfield Cardinals on. He's trying to get back. He threw 3 innings, 59 pitches, gave up a home run and 2 runs in that game, but didn't walk anybody. Looked real smooth, looked healthy. And I think just getting him back in that dugout. And I think that's something that folks don't think about is, when you got Adam Wainwright not there and Yachty's gone, I mean, that's the leaders. I mean, you still got Arenado and Goldschmidt, but I think that's hurt him as well a little bit.
DA, you had a chance to watch him because you're in the Cardinal country here. What are your thoughts on the Cardinals, and do you really see Mo Mozeliak able to put together a winning team in St. Louis?
I think he's failed recently, and I say recently in the last decade. He's failed to make moves when he probably should have. He's been afraid to pull the trigger on some big name players that really, I think, could have been clubhouse changer number one. And I think that's the one thing maybe too that people don't realize how much Molina being gone. And actually Wainwright probably takes that position over in the clubhouse. And with him being gone, who is that person? Arenado, Goldschmidt, that steps up in the clubhouse and kind of takes things by the scruff of the neck and says, "Hey, boys, we got to get our stuff straight here and go out and play." But I think just like what Guy said, it all leads back to pitching, in particular starting pitching. It's a trouble spot right now for the Cardinals and a glaring weakness. I think that if you take a look at across the Major League Baseball, not necessarily American League, National League, but overall, the teams that are really doing well and getting out of the gates quickly are the teams that have solid 1 through 5, and in some cases 1 through 6 starting pitching, and a reliable bullpen to close out these games. I think the complexion of the games, that we've seen with the rule changes has changed the complexion of the game overall. Not just talking about, how long a game takes to complete, but talking about strategy. I've seen something that I'd never seen before, where pitchers are the ones that have are calling the plays with the Guy. You may have to help me here. What do they call the when they press the button?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. That goes to the earpiece to call pitches. I'm seeing pitchers wearing those now, just with the with the shortness of time between pitches. They're calling their own games, so a lot of that's changed. And I think the stronger pitching teams are kind of rising to the top right now.
Well, we've talked about the front office. We talked about some of the players and pitchers. I still think Marmol, I think he's got to take a little bit of it. guy. Very quickly, we're going to close out this segment. He had an issue with Tyler O'Neill running the bases. You think that affected the clubhouse the other day, last week?
Oh, I'm sure it did, because I know there were other players, that had made comments that wasn't something, that's something that should have stayed in the clubhouse. And I think that maybe was taking a little bit of shot at Marmol. And he's a young coach. He's going to make mistakes, and hopefully he has learned his lesson. He didn't play Tyler the next day, but the Cardinals right now, they're just not pitching well. Just like Darren said, the teams that are pitching. I mean, Tampa Bay race freaking team ERA is 2.72.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I'm gonna say this. Should stay in the clubhouse. Some things I don't have making public. I'm gonna make this public. DA is a jerk. He brought up the whole Cardinal thing. We're gonna bring. If he has the problem, he knows where my office is. He can stop by and knock on the door. We can handle it like men. But if I get a text again saying the Cardinals are the last place in the Central Division, we're gonna have a problem, okay, buddy? And I'm gonna put that on a Post-Dispatch. I'm gonna put that on the News Leader, the Daily Citizen. Everybody's gonna hear that there was a rumbling in the jungle with the two big fellas.
Big fellas.
DA went to blows. Hey, our next segment, we're gonna come back and talk about a little NFL draft. It's in one of the favorite cities here in the Midwest. It'll be held in Kansas City, Missouri, at their Union Station. It should be a great time. We'll be right back. We're going to get into it, see who you think should be number one. We'll tell you who we think is going to go number one. Don't go anywhere. Listen to Huddle Up here on Missouri Sports Network.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get a $500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine. Plus, unlock your code to claim $500 Chevy CyberCash. Visit ChevyCyberCash.com today.
Not only is Country Financial our insurance, but they treated us like family.
Relationships are the single most important piece of the puzzle. We always ask this question: what is the right thing to do?
Welcome back to Huddle Up here on the Missouri Sports Network inside the Pizza Ranch studio. We have not changed anything. This is still Where Am I? What do you mean, where am I? Who is the jerk on this screen? Who is the bad guy? We are not changing that topic today, and I will point to the coach, DA. But we're going to let him survive another segment without being called bad names. We won't talk about him off camera. We'll give him all the hardcore language that we should, and he rightfully deserves. But on camera, we're going to keep this PG, which means personal and godly. All right, here we go, fellas. We're going to talk about a little bit of the NFL draft that'll be held in Kansas City. I think Kansas City, knowing the city a little bit, they like to party. I think that draft atmosphere is going to be unlike any others. The question is, who goes number one? Who do you like going number one? Darren, Coach, we're going to start with you. There's a lot of mock drafts out there. If you had to pick, let's just say if Darren Arthur was the GM of the Carolina Panthers, who does he take?
Probably what they're going to do. They're going to take Bryce Young.
Okay.
This is not a particularly strong quarterback class, but it is a deep quarterback class, and there are a lot of teams drafting up, top 5, top 10 that are in desperate need of quarterbacks, not only for the future, but for the present. And I think being in a position that Carolina's in, they've got to take a flyer and hope that it sticks. And I think the overall body of work that CJ Stroud has shown at the collegiate level, I think garners him the number one pick.
Big fella.
Yeah, I think it's Bryce Young. And, like you said, this is a weak quarterback class. You go back over the last 10 years, and there's always 3 or 4 quarterbacks, taken in the first round, except 10 years ago, the one quarterback in 2013, the one quarterback went in the first round, and I guarantee you probably don't know who he is. I mean, it's E.J. Manuel by the Bills. I never even heard of the guy. He was taken in that first round, and then you come into that, Jameis Winston and Jared Goff, Carson Wentz. But that year when Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes were taken, they went 2-3 because Mitch Trubisky went first. And I think what you're seeing now, you're going to get 3 quarterbacks probably taken in the first round. But I think that the league is such a quarterback-driven league now. I mean, you just look at Jalen Hurts' contract. I mean, this is a guy who was benched in the national championship game by Alabama, and just what he's been able to overcome. And he outperformed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And and he made a lot of money. He's the highest paid player ever now. And I think it's just a quarterback league. But there are a lot of great quarterbacks in the league right now. And even though Lamar Jackson can't find a place to play with, which baffles me, a former MVP, and he'd be in the top 10. But I think it's Bryce Young going number 1.
Well, I think, and I told you guys, we can talk about this and we can debate it, but these are some facts that I have always noticed. Alabama quarterbacks do not do well. I don't care what anyone says. They do not do well. I would be scared to pick an Alabama quarterback. And the second school is Ohio State. They just do not, gentlemen. Y'all can sit here and talk and debate if you want to. I'm just sitting here. Ohio State, they have all the skill players and the running backs you can ever imagine coming out of Ohio State, and their quarterbacks always flop. You tell me a quarterback from Ohio State that you were like, he's a stud, he's won a championship. You're not good. It's not there. It's not there. I'm not taking anything from Herb Street, but he was a quarterback. They had a backup quarterback, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins, who came in and won a national championship because they handed the ball off to Zeke, and they got the best wide receivers. And the same thing goes for Alabama. If you got a wide receiver running a 4.2 and they got a DB running a 4.5, I'll take that matchup. Guys, I'm not excited about this. I'd probably trade down. I'd probably go after Lamar really hard. That's a whole nother story. And try to give me some picks. But I know you guys love Alabama. I think Guy has an Alabama undershirt on, and I think Coach got on. I think he had his favorite pair of underwear, got Ohio State written on the back of them. I mean, guys, talk to me. Am I wrong or not?
Well, I can't. As far as Ohio State, yeah, they've not had any quarterbacks do anything. When you're talking about Alabama, you're talking about Joe Namath, Bart Starr.
You got to go back that guy. You went back that far?
Well, you said never. So I think
Joe Namath and Moses were roommates, I think. What are you talking about? You went back. Oh, my gosh. Wow. We going back there. Okay.
Ohio State did have one recently.
Who?
Joe Burrow.
He wasn't even really Ohio State. He went to LSU. But I mean,
he started off at Ohio State, though.
My goodness, guy. It just.
No, you're right, Johnny. You're right.
Thank you.
Right. And I think part of that is.
Hold on. Say that again. One more time. What'd you say?
You're correct.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead, my friend. Go ahead.
I think a lot of that is just the whole team around them's better and superior to what they're playing against most weekends. Skill position players are better. Their offensive line is better. Running backs are better in comparison to who they are playing. And, I think you have a valid point. As tough as that is for me to say, I think you have a very valid point.
Thank you, my friend. And Guy, I know you want to go so opposite and just say, Johnny Mac, you're wrong. But please tell me what makes you so enamored with Bryce Young?
I think he's the best quarterback in a weak quarterback class.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, you already said Ohio State quarterbacks suck. That's going to be the number 2 pick.
Yeah. Well, okay. I would just trade out of that and try to give me some picks and let me now. In general, here, let's talk about this real quick. Let's just open this bag up. Lamar Jackson does not have an agent. His mom was representing. I'm not really sure. There is a art form, and having been a former agent, did it for close to a decade. There's a skill set that you must have first, you better have thick skin. Secondly, there's a skill set you must have when you're negotiating at times, because you don't want that player to hear everything that's going out there. I think Lamar Jackson has made a bad mistake, and I think there's some collusion. I think the owner said, we're not giving that money that Deshaun Watson got, and I don't care what happens. We're gonna stand together on this, and I think that's what Lamar Jackson is going through. Guy, what do you think about that, big fella?
Well, I agree with that. I think there's some collusion there, except you kind of counteract that. Well, then how did Philadelphia go out and give their contract out to Jalen Hurts? I mean, that's the highest paid contract in the history of football.
It's not all guaranteed. $75 million is not guaranteed.
$179 million is guaranteed,
but 75 is not. Now, Deshaun Watson got 225, 230 completely guaranteed. Yeah. That's different. It's different.
So, maybe that's the case. Maybe they don't want to give, and I don't know what Lamar Jackson's asking for. Yeah. I don't know what he wants unless he just basically said, "Hey, I want Deshaun Watson's contract."
Right.
And that's Deshaun Watson's contract, the stupidest contract ever in the history.
Yes, completely agree, Coach. What do you think? I completely agree with you, guys.
Yeah, I do. I think there is some collusion going on, but at some point in time, somebody's going to cave, and they're going to take a flyer on him, and he's going to end up somewhere, and they're going to be better because of it. I don't know that he'll get the money that he's asking for, but he'll get close to it, and somebody's going to get a heck of a pickup. I mean, he is a multi-dimensional player and probably the most important position in football. And he's the definition of a dual threat quarterback, and his whole transition in becoming a better pocket passer. We always knew he could scramble, but he's developed as a pretty good pocket passer, and he's not looking to scramble and then throw. He's going through his reads and then scrambling. So I think somebody's going to hit a gold mine with him.
Well, don't you think? I mean, aren't there? I mean, literally, you going into next year, there are 4 teams, maybe 5 that could win the Super Bowl, and doesn't matter what team he's going to, he's not going to win the Super Bowl. And these kids coming out of college, they could get that rookie contract. I mean, they're not going to go out. I mean, you look at some of the dumbest contracts in the history. You got Deshaun Watson, Michael Vick, Carson Wentz, Ryan Leaf. Literally, there are 4 or 5 teams I think they could win the Super Bowl, and I think, hey, we're not going to go out and blow a bunch of money and not get to the playoffs or not go to the Super Bowl. We'd rather just take in a backup guy. Yeah. And was it Blake Bortles? Did he go to Kansas City? Who did Kansas City pick up as a backup?
No, Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, Blaine Gabbert.
That guy's been in the league, 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
He's made a lot of money, but he's not making $25 million a game.
No, he's doing well. It'll be interesting. Going into a week from now, it'll be interesting to see what plays out. And unfortunately, we'll be airing before the draft next Thursday. But that following week, stay tuned, because we'll have all the latest and what went down that draft. But gentlemen, good segment. We'll come back and close it out with our third and final segment. You're listening to Huddle Up here on the Missouri Sports Network inside the Pizza Ranch studio. And yes, Darren Archer is still on my bad list. All right, we'll be right back. Thank you.
Everyone thinks their mom makes the crispiest, juiciest, best chicken ever.
No way. The country's best chicken comes from Pizza Ranch.
Hot and ready on the buffet, it's always available, along with your favorite comfort foods, like mashed potatoes and gravy.
Which are never lumpy, like my mom's potatoes.
Sorry, Mom. The country's best chicken, along with mashed potatoes and gravy, are always found on the buffet at Pizza Ranch.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
Welcome back, everyone, to Huddle Up. This is Johnny Mack, the guy up there, the big fella. That's Guy, the coach, DA. Hey, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to start off a little high school baseball, but we also have an update or a slight update to the Chiefsaholic bank robber. Don't go anywhere. We're going to bring that up. And we got some prizes, some things we're going to play around and possibly give away. But look here, let's start off really quick. Let's just run a little run through about some local baseball. There's a lot of good players, a lot of Division I athletes in this area also that are competing. And Guy, you brought up something very interesting, that there's one undefeated baseball team, high school baseball team in Missouri. Is that correct?
There's one high school undefeated team remaining in Missouri, and that's the Ash Grove Pirates.
Wow. Tell me about
it. Had a hell of a week 2 weeks ago. They hit, in 1 week, they hit 2 walk-off grand slam home runs down by 3 runs to win games.
Crazy.
And one was against, or both of them, I'm sorry, against state-ranked teams.
Wow.
One against Billings and one against Morrisville, or Marion C. Early, as folks around here call it. But no, there's some great talent in Southwest Missouri. You know, you go back years ago and a decade ago maybe, and the talent baseball across the state was in the St. Louis area, and it makes sense because baseball in St. Louis, they've got tremendous athletes, tremendous coaches, and that's kind of shifted a little bit. The power has kind of come back down here to Southwest Missouri with the likes of Glendale's, and the Willards have made 4 out of 5 runs to the state Final Four in baseball. Glendale has got a team that was ranked number 1 in the state, and then they get blitzed, earlier this week by Camdenton. I mentioned Ash Grove. You've got Purdy that's state ranked. Logan Rogersville is number 1 in Class 4, and Springfield Catholic's number 3. So it's some really good baseball here in Southwest Missouri, and a lot of that is they're getting to play as many games, or so many more games, because a lot of these fields down here now have gotten the turf. So they're not losing games to rain, not like they had been in the past, where Columbia and St. Louis had some turf fields. Now they've got those here in Springfield, so they're able to get in more games.
DA, what are you seeing on the baseball scene here locally? Are you agreeing with the talents shift from St. Louis to Southwest Missouri?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the results kind of show that. There's one school district up in the St. Louis area, St. Charles area, Fort Zumwalt School District, I believe, has 3 of their 4 high schools state ranked now. That's pretty good for one school district.
Yeah.
When you've got 75% of your high school baseball teams state ranked at the present time. So a lot of good baseball all across the state. But yes, as far as Southwest Missouri is concerned, very well represented throughout all of the polls, classes, in every class, and just a lot of good talent in this area, no doubt.
Get out and see your local baseball teams. I know there's a lot of good players out there, also with the Missouri State and Springfield Cardinals being in season. Also, get out and support. Well, we've come to my final segment. My favorite segment, the Chiefsaholic, the bank robber. I think I might have seen him. He was on the run. He was in the wind. He was a lamb. He was what do they call that saying, Guy, about the lamb? What do they say?
On the lamb.
On the lamb, which really means what, Guy?
It means to strike or beat someone up in the old English language. Lamb is to strike or beat someone.
Well, the man was on the way. He was striking and beating someone. I tell you what we're going to do for our listeners, just for our favorite listeners, we're going to do this right now. If you catch him, call the police first off. Don't try to apprehend him yourself. But if you do, we got something for you. The Missouri Sports Network hat. It's yours, along with a shooting lesson from the coach himself, Darren Archer. Now, I don't know if you'll make anything when he teaches you how to shoot the ball, but you will be taught how to shoot. And my man Guy Newcomb said he'll throw in an hour's worth of how to be a sports announcer, how you can become the best sports announcer you could be. But you got to catch the Chiefsaholic who robs banks and then goes to Chiefs games, fellas. Well, that's what we got. Here's what I do know, though, Guy. The leadoff club was last Monday. How was it? And tell our audience about it. and how they can follow along with you and maybe be a part of the leadoff club.
Yeah, it's at Pizza Ranch every Monday. We start seating about 11:30. Coaches come in from the Springfield public schools, from the private schools in Springfield, and then we always bring some area teams. And I tell you what, Coach Gutton, just his part of it has been well worth the price of admission. He is very amusing, very intelligent. He's a great guy. Love hearing him. We also, Coach Nasby from Drury is there. Coach Merriman from BBC has been in there, and we've had Coach from Evangel. So we got the 4 area coaches, our college coaches in the city. They're all a part of it. And then we usually bring in, between 4 and 6 Springfield area high school baseball coaches. Willard was there last week, Rogersville. So it's a lot of fun. Enjoy it. We're out of there by 12:35, 12:40. Come in, eat some pizza, and listen to the coaches.
Thank you for that update. Well, we got 30 seconds left. I'm sorry, we got 10 seconds left. And DA, could you give us a really quick Cubs report? All right, thank you, guys. Hey, we appreciate it. We appreciate you, DA. Sorry we couldn't get you in. We'll get you in next time along with Matt Damon. Hey, you've been listening to Missouri Sports Network here. Excuse me, you've been listening to Huddle Up here on Missouri Sports Network. Sorry we couldn't get that Cubs update in. We'll get it for you next time. That's Guy. That's Coach DA. I'm Johnny Mack. We'll be back next week. Be safe, everyone, and stay tuned.
The Cardinal way.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.